Hey, welcome to the Pre-Chiro podcast. This is aiming to contextualize the path to become a chiropractor. Today we have Dr. Peter Kevorkian, who's been in practice for probably 25 plus years. Big influence for me and many of my colleagues in the world of pediatric chiropractic. But Dr. Peter, thank you so much for taking the time to share with prospective students who may not know what chiropractic even is, let alone why you would see a baby or a kid for chiropractic. So can we just get started by you just introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about maybe jogging your memory to think back before you were a chiropractor and what it was that attracted you to this profession?
Wow. Sure. Let me explain where I am, and then we'll go back to where it all began. Okay.
Yeah.
So I practice in Westwood, Massachusetts, with my wife, Dr. Patricia Giuliano. We have a home office practice. Home offices are really, really common in the Northeast, virtually non-existent in the West Coast, and yet smutterings of them here and there throughout the country. We see a lot of families. Most of the people who come in for care come into my office. The same reason why they go to any other chiropractor's office is they want to be helped with some sort of a health issue. We do a very good job when people begin care at explaining the benefits of having a healthy spine. And people begin to understand that a healthy spine is part of being connected to a healthy life. And the damage can occur to the spine sometimes at a very, very young age, very often even at the birth process. So many of our patients then choose to bring in their children. And we have a lot of children that come into the office. About 30% of our practice is under the age of 15. Lots of babies, lots of newborns. I'm going to say one of the things that I love doing is having a mom hand me their baby. And I look at the mom and I said, this is how big you were when you got your first adjustment. So it means I've been in practice a long time, but I love people being under care. Mm-hmm. I believe that the place that I live in is that every spine should get checked and adjusted as needed on a regular basis. I know I get my spine checked every week. My family gets their spine checked every week. I believe that everybody benefits by making sure that their spine is free of nerve interference on a weekly basis. In that vein, we have about 200 members of our practice that have been under care for over 20 years. So one of my greatest claims to fame is that people understand chiropractic well enough in my practice that they stay under care for a long period of time. So a good percentage of my practice are people who come into the office, gotten their spine checked regularly, brought their children in on a regular basis. So that's my practice. I've been very involved in the profession. I teach for the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association, which is one of the largest member organizations in the entire world. We brought together people from virtually every school, every country, every technical aspect under the umbrella of family wellness care. I've been teaching for them for about 20 years. I've been president of their board of directors for about 10 years. So I'm very, very proud of that. I've been involved in other areas of the profession. I've served on the board of my state society. My wife and I started a philosophy group here about 35 years ago. It's one of the longest continually running philosophy groups in the world. I've been chairman of the board of Sherman College, did that for about 8 years. So I've done lots of different things. But let's go back to where it all started. I remember being a chiropractic patient. I went to the chiropractor for a variety of reasons, one more out of curiosity than anything else. And I would go to this old-time chiropractor, a very heavy adjuster, and it seemed to me what he was doing was so haphazard. And one day I'm on the table and go, boom, 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 adjusting me. And I turn around and look at him, and Dr. C, that's what I called him, Dr. Cordima. I said, do you know what you're doing? Because it just seems so haphazard. He says, no, boom, boom, boom. And he gets off the table and says, you don't know what you're doing? And he says, I don't, but your body does. And it really opened the door at that time for me to hear something that changed my life. He says, Peter, I know that what I am doing is allowing your body to function without interference. What I don't know is what your body is going to do with that. He said, when your body's without interference and it works better, I don't know if it's going to help you get over a cold, help back pain get better, help you do better in school, help you sleep better. What I do know is that a body without nerve interference is magical. And he walked out of the room. That conversation changed my life because he said, boy, that's the most honest answer any doctor has given me. He wasn't trying to treat, cure, or fix anything. What he was trying to do was allow my body to be in a better state so it could treat, cure, and fix what it needed to do in its life. So every time I went, I would ask more and more questions. I decided I want to go to chiropractic school. I was in engineering school at the time, completed my engineering education, then went to Palmer College, 1979. My first quarter, I remember sitting there with 168 other people. And a person comes, the first day in chiropractic school is the day they collate you. You know, the registrar comes and you learn where your locker is and you learn where your classes are and you meet your instructors. But they had people come from various clubs that were on campus. Somebody comes from the Philosophy and Communications Club at Palmer College back then and gets up and does a lay lecture. Basically a talk that a doctor would do for their patients, explaining chiropractic from A to Z. That 20 minutes changed my life. It was the first time that I actually heard the chiropractic story from start to finish, understanding that health is more than feeling good. Health is a body that's working right. Understanding that life is what creates health. In the same way that 2 half cells make a new human being in 9 months, that force that allows life to create new life is the same force that heals you, that mends you, that allows the body to work at its potential. And to understand that life uses the brain, the spinal cord, and the nervous system to control the function of everything that happens inside the body. And things can happen that damage those nerves, that interrupt those signals of communication, that cut off the brain's ability to perceive the body and to be able to regulate its function. And what chiropractors do is they analyze the spine to find those areas of interference that we call a subluxation, adjust those subluxations, and allow the life that made that body to function properly, heal the body, and allow the body to do the things it needs to do in its lifetime. And as the person did that talk, it hits me. I said, damn, if my parents had heard that story when I was a baby, I would have had the benefit of chiropractic care from birth. So I made a commitment to myself at that moment that I was going to learn how to effectively communicate the story of chiropractic. And if everybody could understand what I understood at that moment, that they'd want chiropractic care for themselves and their families. So that began my journey. I went to chiropractic school, learned all that I could in technique and philosophy and all the sciences and then the things you need to do to graduate. Got out into practice, and I basically grabbed my spine and started telling people the story. And once people heard it, they said, gee, this makes sense. I want to get my spine checked. So that's how my journey began.
Cool. So just to get specific, if you were to illustrate the trajectory that a student could go on throughout school, maybe talk about the frequency of how often they should be connecting into the chiropractic philosophy, or they should be practicing their technique. Try and get a little bit more specific with us, just so we can hear from you. If you were to send one person, which I'm sure you've sent people to school that you really care about, how would you instruct them or guide them to find their path?
So this is for a person who is wondering if they should go to school, or they're decided that they're going to go to school.
Both, because this is pre-chiro, like pre-med. Before you get to school, these are some of the conversations I would like people to listen to so that they can get clear on why they're going to school. And then if they are already planning to go to school, they can get some insights into what they should be starting to practice today to establish rhythms, so that when they get to school, they've already got some of these rhythms established.
So first, the person who's considering chiropractic college, or considering chiropractic school, or let me step back, considering chiropractic as a career. First thing I would recommend is go visit chiropractors. Most of the time you have a chiropractor that's been taking care of you, that is inspiring you to go to chiropractic school. Ask that chiropractor. I said, do you know any other chiropractors that I can talk to? And any chiropractor that you call on the telephone or email or however you want to communicate with them that says, I can't be bothered, you don't want to talk to them anyway. But most chiropractors that I know that are in practice would love to talk to a prospective student and give them information as to what is chiropractic like as a career. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What are the benefits of being a chiropractor? And what are the challenges? What makes it difficult? What do you wish were different? And so as you're sitting there saying, is this the journey that I want? Getting through school is the easy part. Because life begins at the end of chiropractic school. Really, that's when practice really starts. And if it's not something you want to do, if you don't like people, chiropractic ain't the career for you. Okay, you don't like touching people, might not be the career for you. You don't want to. There's a part of chiropractic that goes against the conventional wisdom, if you will, that looks at things differently. Obviously, if chiropractors looked at the world, particularly health and well-being and vitality, the same as medical physicians or other kinds of doctors, there'd be no need for the profession. As the chiropractors look at things differently. So you're going to be rub against some places where you're going to be considered controversial or an outlier from conventional wisdom. If that's uncomfortable for you, if you feel as though you need to be mainstream, chiropractic may not be. Now, it's more mainstream today than it's ever been, but still, it's not 100% the way that everybody else thinks. So if that isn't comfortable for you, it's not the career for you. But go visit other chiropractors. Ask if you could spend some time in the office with them. Some will, some won't. That depends on the philosophy of the chiropractor. But once you make the decision, once you say, yeah, this is what I want to do with my life, then when you go to chiropractic school, learn as much as you can while you're there. There is no magic technique. There are many, many, many different techniques that can be applied very successfully to make powerful changes in people's lives. And every technical system has its own rationale and model of the spine. And you learn so many of them within chiropractic school. Learn what you are taught in the classroom. I'm a huge advocate of that, regardless of what school you go to. Learn what is taught in the classroom based upon the values, the philosophy, the direction, and the emphasis of that institution. Then there may be some techniques that you're drawn to. Some chiropractors really like focusing on the upper cervical spine, or the very top part of the spine. Other chiropractors like utilizing other types of instrumentation or basing a lot upon x-ray. Other take a very, very tonal or light touch. Some are more manual adjusting. This may be a technique that you are drawn to. Delve yourself into that. Potentially go to seminars, listen to stuff on the internet, or take classes on the internet, whatever it is. Develop your technical skills so you feel very confident at being able to analyze the spine, know when you should adjust the spine, how you should adjust the spine, and most importantly, when you shouldn't touch the spine. Okay, well, when you're done with your job. Aligned to that, spend time really looking at the philosophical premise and direction of our profession. I believe that as much as I feel extremely confident in my technical application of knowing what I do when a person is on the table, I am equally astute and competent at understanding, articulating our philosophy, and holding the philosophical perspective in every decision that I make within practice, within my life, within my family's life, how I manage my office, and how I engage within my profession. I believe that the philosophical roots of our profession give us such a gift, more than just knowing when, where, and how to adjust somebody. It's when, where, and how to look at the world. The perspective that we bring in terms of understanding that there's order and organization in the systems of life. And if rather than us trying to control, manipulate, or fix something that life is doing, that we're going to seek to take an interference out of the system, remove an interference so that the natural process of life can express themselves to its totality. I believe that can be applied in so many realms. So I believe technique, you want to have your grounding in, and your philosophy, you want to have your grounding in, and challenge yourself. Challenge yourself, put yourself into environments where you are questioned, where you are challenged, where you are questioned from every direction, and feel confident that you can answer those questions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in pre-chiropractic, my premise is that everybody has the opportunity, if it's created for them, they can create it themselves, or we could create it for them, that they can step into what it's like to be a chiropractor before they even go to chiropractic school. They can spend time in practices, but they can also challenge themselves to maybe start a business, maybe communicate the philosophy to people who are unfamiliar, maybe try and start a pre-chiro club of their own and promote it on their college campus, maybe communicate it to some of their instructors that, hey, we need some more representation of chiropractic in our kinesiology department or our biology virtual shadowing that's taking place in colleges these days. So everything that you're describing right there, my thought is that people could do it before they get to school, so that when they get to school, they have clarity of what they like, what they don't like, what they want to focus on. And they've already gone through some of those challenges that you described, being unconventional or having a message that is different. So anyway, thank you for sharing so much insight there into chiropractic. Can you keep going into some of the mechanics of how your practice works, just to give insight into how you've established your practice? You said you're in partnership with, I believe, your spouse. You've been in practice together. Can you talk a little bit about that dynamic, and then also how you're able to keep people connected for 20 years to coming to see you, and also just what the culture of your office is like?
So first, there are a lot of questions in that. I believe that success in any practice, whether it's my practice or anybody's practice, comes into some very fundamental truths. First truth, and this is the tone that my practice lives on, is take care of people like family. If you looked at every person that you're serving as though they were your brother or sister, your mom or your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your own child, and you make decisions about what you would do for that person, not based upon what you were told by some regulatory agency or what the laws say you do, but how do I care for that person as a human being and somebody I cared about and loved? That if we ground ourselves and to recognize that we are people caring for people, that you'll never make a wrong decision. The fundamental ethic that drives everything within my life and within my practice, as I look at people as though they are my own flesh and blood, my own family. A close cousin to that is always be truthful. Don't ever try to deceive, manipulate, coerce, even white lies. Very often people say, one of the worst things the chiropractors do is you want people to come forever. Well, that's the truth. And why would I deprive somebody of that truth? I have no trouble telling a brand new person, somebody who knows nothing about my profession, to say, my goal with every new person is to have a lifetime relationship with you. I said, now, it's not appropriate for you to make a lifetime commitment today. It's my responsibility to give you information and give you perspective and understanding as to why many people choose to use chiropractic care as part of their general health and well-being for their lifetime, for themselves, for their kids. So I believe in being totally transparent and truthful with everything that we do. The other fundamental value that we hold true within my practice is to make this idea of vertebral subluxation, the unique phenomena that we address, very real for a person. So throughout the initial visit, subsequent visits, workshops that we do for patients, the conversations we have when they come in to get their spine checked, is to continually build the reality of this phenomena that we refer to as a vertebral subluxation. A vertebral subluxation or misalignments of the spine that interrupt the communication between the brain and the body and the body and the brain. And those subluxations are what we are addressing. And by us adjusting those subluxations, it allows the brain and body to be in better harmony and better connectedness, so that the power of life within the body can best express itself and understand what the very best thing can do for that person. So make the concept of subluxation real for somebody. And in that same vein, that the focus isn't as much on the symptom, the back pain, the headache, the colitis, the bedwetting, the learning disabilities, but is to allow a spine to be free of nerve interference, free of vertebral subluxation, so the body can best care for all of its conditions as well as possible. The next thing is be good at what you do, and I talked about that, and that's learn the skills of analysis and adjustment of the spine. And we pride ourselves in offering a state-of-the-art, cutting-edge technology in terms of being able to do that. And then to work hard, to just get up every day and work hard. I work harder today than I have in 37 years, 38 years of practice, and I love, 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 love what I do. So I believe that's the feel of what underpins, or not underpins, that's the foundation of how I live, my wife and I live our lives, and the service that we offer to the community. There are many layers to that in terms of communication, in terms of offering a fee system that makes it affordable for people to stay under regular care, in terms of procedures that allow efficiency of the adjustment and the flow within the office, that my team is totally trained in that. But that's the general picture of it. In terms of practicing with my spouse, there isn't anybody else I'd rather be with all day long. Patty is an outstanding chiropractor, amazing communicator, the love of my life, mother of my kids, and uh, as with any relationship, the way that you grow in relationship is to be totally honest, open, and in integrity with all of your communications and actions with one another. So. Uh, just saying an open communication with your spouse is the only way that relationship ever works, but particularly if you're going to be working together. One of the I get asked all the time because couples very often consult Patty and I and says, "How do you practice together, and how did you do it so long that you didn't kill each other?" So my answer is always don't ever have any hidden agenda. Put all the cards on the table. Always communicate. Stay open with one another. Uh, Work on your relationship all the time, and create clear boundaries. And I think this is the big area of communication. Um, I'm real good at handling the organizational business systems in the office. So I became the fall guy, if you will, for all things business related in the practice. Patty was the nurturer. She was the fall gal for all the things that happened in the house relative to kids and making sure that that they were at soccer practice at the right time and the meals were handled and all that other stuff. So you have appropriate boundaries, but you stay in total communication with one another regarding everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can you unpack some of the business infrastructure, both on the front end, but the back end? You talked a little bit about efficiency in being able to check people and also pass them along through the process of having a visit. But can you talk a little bit about the back end of running a chiropractic practice for those that are starting to wrap their head around what it would be like to be a chiropractor?
When you say back end, do you mean the the business relationship that a patient has with the office, or how we run the business in my business office, or both?
Both.
Okay. So most people who come into the practice are in my practice right now, but 85% of them are outside of their first year of care. And if 85% of my practice is outside their first year of care, these are people who are coming in not to treat a particular ailment or ache or pain, but they want to utilize chiropractic care the same way I utilize it, which is to make sure their spine is free of nerve interference. This population is on an exchange process with the office that I call my vitality plan. The vitality plan is like a membership to a club, like a health club. They pay an annual fee or a monthly fee, and they come in and they get their spine checked on a regular basis. There's no third party reimbursement, no insurance involvement, no statements, no super bills, nothing like that. So it's purely a cash pay basis. Person comes in, they pay their fee, they come, they get their spine checked, and they come in the next visit and they do the same thing. They bring their kids in. So the bulk of my practice is on what I call a vitality plan. Virtually every state has some sort of regulation or policy under the regulatory agency or the licensing agency of that state that creates the logistics of that. In Commonwealth of Massachusetts, there is actual board policy about concierge plans, wellness plans, prepaid plans, whatever you want to define them as. So it's important that the chiropractor become aware of the mechanisms by which you can make that happen and to ensure that you're doing everything legally and above board. So that's the bulk of my practice. The other 15% are new patients, are people who come into the practice and are initiating care. And these people very often come in because they have an ache, pain, or problem, or their child has got some sort of a learning disability or bedwetting or tongue tie or some issue that they think chiropractic offers a natural solution for. We'll engage them in an educational process, have them understand the importance of spinal care, set real clear metrics of things that we would like to see change over the first few months of care. And these people as well go onto a plan, either a 3-month or a 1-year plan. But it's managed a little bit differently because this aspect of care sort of can dovetail into a medical system if they want to, and the costs are more. People aren't just coming in for well-being. Plus, I'm learning about their spine. So again, it's a membership, but it's usually for a very fixed period of time. 3 months or a year, and again, it can be paid for all up front, or it can be paid for monthly. And during this phase of care, if somebody does have some type of third-party reimbursement, if they have insurance, we'll provide them with statements. They can then collect any monies that they're entitled to.
Mhm.
My practice is pretty close to all cash, meaning people pay us, and then the patients receive reimbursement they may be entitled to from their insurance carrier. But that's only during their first year of care.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the state of the profession today? You're very involved, you're very engaged through the ICPA, maybe through some colleges that you're affiliated with, or your state association, or the groups that you run privately. Can you just talk about what the community is feeling like these days, or maybe even just give some projections of what you envision is possible if we're able to get people to be congruent with chiropractic and choose to go to chiropractic school for the right reasons, and really develop a generation that has shared experiences that regardless of what school they choose to go to, they've had a similar set of experiences and standards that they've met before they entered chiropractic school?
I think this is a very exciting time to be a chiropractor. It's a very exciting time to go to chiropractic school. The profession, I believe, is in an exponential growth period on multiple levels. I feel as though the technical aspects of our profession are growing every day. Um, the degree of technical specificity of being able to analyze the spine and make powerful changes to a person's spine and physiology is better today than it's ever been before. So I think the level of technical excellence is growing dramatically. The level of consciousness within the world, although more and more people are going to chiropractors, I believe that many of them are going because they see chiropractic as an alternative way to take care of their health. I believe that what the world needs is a lot more than that. The world needs a different perspective. They need grounding in 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 a different viewpoint, and this has never been more um, needed than it is today. Through the whole COVID-19 process, people have become so pathogenically focused. They're so focused on this invisible thing, a coronavirus, that is going to invade their body and kill them. The media has done such a job of be perseverating over this idea that this virus is going to overtake us and kill us, that we need to that so much energy is being focused there, and virtually no energy is being put into creating a healthier and a stronger and a more vital body. If we took 1/10 of the energy that has been put out to try to deal with a pathogen in terms of trying to elevate the well-being of the body, the coronavirus will basically disappear. Virtually every virus that has ever been evident on this planet has not affected us, not destroyed our species because of the human immune system. If we can build up the well-being and the vitality of the body. So I think the greatest gift that we give the world is that perspective, that rather than us trying to worry about all the stuff on the outside, let's build everything up on the inside. Let's make the body become healthier. And we're seeing smutterings of this all over the place. Everything from nutritional companies to mattress companies to health clubs talking about the importance of building the well-being of the body from the inside out. Well, that's the core roots of our philosophy. Build the body up from the inside out. All healing happens from the inside out. Well, if we can remove interferences to the spine, hell, that's building the body up from the inside out. That perspective, which is a philosophical premise, is really the greatest strength that chiropractors have in terms of articulating what it is we do. Give that to our patients, and that's the greatest gift we can give them, particularly during this time. So I see this as one of the most exciting times to be a chiropractor, because we're at a real pinnacle of being able to make a huge consciousness shift in our world. Because I think people are seeing the fallibility of medical treatments, medical protocols, the uncertainty that exists in terms of trying to control microorganisms and even control human physiology. You can't. Life does what life does. Life is infinitely complex. And as much as the more we learn about life and the body, the more we realize that we don't know. I think there's just so much to ground yourself and saying, hey, what we do know, the body's always better off with good nerve supply. the bad nerve supply. Let's elevate your nerve supply. What we do know is the body always needs rest. Let's make sure we get enough rest. What we do know is the body needs to have movement and exercise. What we do know is the body needs good nutrients to fortify itself and rebuild itself. I mean, we know so many things. Let's start putting our energy there, which is what chiropractors have been focusing on since 1895, but never has been needed more than at this time.
100%. Thank you for sharing that truth. It's so important right now to rely on what's within and be in the presence of that which is guiding life, much more so than that which is guiding the news and the media and the public's sort of hypnosis or being scared. Can you just talk a little bit more before we wrap this up right now of how do you become and develop yourself to become technically sound as a pediatric chiropractor? What are some maybe resources you should engage with? What are some skills that you're definitely going to need if you want to take care of families and more kids?
Great question. Colleges vary dramatically in terms of their viewpoint regarding the care of children. I know the LifeWest, I know where you're connected to, does offer training while you're in chiropractic school, being able to understand the importance of pediatric care of children, and you're given some skills to develop to begin that journey. I believe if what you want to do is take care of a lot of children, you really need to delve into the sensitivity and the specificity necessary to care for a pediatric spine. When I put my fingers on an adult spine, one finger can feel a little bump or prominence or muscle. Take that same finger and put it in a pediatric spine, I could be feeling multiple bones, multiple muscles underneath that one finger. To being able to discern your touch, to being able to become extremely specific to determine what's precisely going on within a pediatric spine is something you need to really look at developing your skills for. Yes, you can do it in school. I am a huge advocate of connecting with the ICPA, the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association, which offers certification and training for chiropractors to care for children. For students, I encourage students not to really enroll in the program until their last year. You need more basis in anatomy, physiology, and an understanding of the basic ideas of chiropractic technique before you start looking at pediatric evaluation and care. So during your last year, you can start taking some class in ICPA. Definitely within your first few years of practice, it's well worth connecting with the ICPA. We offer a number of programs in technique, some supportive care in chiropractic practice. Supportive care, I mean things like nutrition or neurological defects and other types of support that's offered within a family setting, as well as how to care for families, the unique environment that we are dealing with as families come in for care to elevate their well-being. ICPA has information. You go to ICPA4kids.com. Loads and loads and loads of information out there regarding the ICPA. There are other people who do training in pediatric care. I can't speak to them to the same level because I don't teach for them. I'm not as familiar with their programs. Very often programs are utilized more as marketing tools or in terms of elevating clinical excellence. I'm not saying they're all that way, but some programs are out there that I have seen that are utilizing pediatric care as a target market. Nothing wrong with that, but there's nothing wrong with growing the kids that are coming into your office. But if you're having a bunch of children and families come to your office, definitely know how to take care of them. Make sure your technique and your technical skills are driven to offer specific care for the well-being of the pediatric or child spine.
Are there special diagnostic tools that you would use as a pediatric chiropractor to assess vertebral subluxation, or is it all just done by hand?
Again, that varies. That varies from chiropractor to chiropractor. In terms of being able to analyze the spine and make the choice of where, when, or how you're going to adjust someone, thermography has been utilized within our practice for ages, since back in the early 1900s. BJ used thermography or forms of heat sensing instruments to determine when and how to adjust people. Many chiropractors continue to do that. X-ray is used very minimally with pediatric spine. Some chiropractors do, but by and large, most people who care for children and babies do not use X-ray. X-ray and instrumentation are and thermographic instrumentation, heat sensing instruments, are the primary tools that are utilized outside of a chiropractor using their hands. There are other things, but predominantly within the profession, those are the primary tools that are used. In my practice, I don't use any. With kids, babies, I only use my hands. And I feel very, very confident being able to determine whether a person is subluxated or not, whether they're clear or not, utilizing my hands.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to just thank you so much for sharing some insights with the prospective students. This is a lot more than I was given before I went to chiropractic school, and that's really just where I'm coming from. My intention is just to be as transparent as possible with anyone considering this path and give them the right message so that they can land on their feet when they get to chiropractic school. They can be a little bit more aware or conscious of what they're getting themselves into, and also just be more directed towards specific resources. So thank you so much for sharing today.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Any final messages you want to just share about anything you're excited about these days, and just anything that you want to just kind of provide off the cuff to prospective student audience?
Okay, if you're thinking about chiropractic school, awesome. Go for it. You know, sometimes we're afraid to jump, afraid to take that step because there's the unknown, the uncertainty. Okay. There's a choice. You make a decision to say, yes, I'm going to do this. Once you make the decision to jump, realize you're going to fly. Okay. Because that's your destiny. You're meant to fly. Once that little voice inside of you, I did not make the decision to chiropractic school cognitively. I made it viscerally. I made it because my heart said, yes, this is what I need to do. If you get in that call, listen to it and jump. If you're in chiropractic school, you're there, invest 100% of your energy. Go for it. Learn all that you can. Keep an open mind. You're going to see such a diversity of perspectives and ideas and ideals. Keep an open mind. Stay grounded in what you believe, and always use that as a frame of reference. But you don't ever need to look at anything and say, oh my goodness, that's wrong. I have a real clear way of how I choose to practice. I choose to do cash practice. Somebody wants to do insurance. Awesome. I know the pitfalls and the challenges that exist with that. Hey, you're going to reach people that I can't reach because you do insurance. I don't use an instrument to adjust. I use my hands. I have my reasons for that, but I'm very open to somebody who wants to use an instrument. I'm very non-medical. I don't utilize physical therapies, modalities. I don't treat ailments. I know chiropractors do. So I'm happy to look at all the different perspectives, but I say grounded in my perspective. But I'm very open and loving and caring for the diversity. If any one person, one idea was right, then we'd all be doing it. The world needs lots of different flavors. There are many flavors in chiropractic. Stay open to all of them, even if you like vanilla, which I do. Okay? It doesn't hurt for you to look and try to understand and taste other flavors.
Awesome. Yes. Great. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Have a great day. Take care of yourself.